Hey guys, it's Tony. Today I'm going to be reviewing this radio-controlled wall clock. Just to kind of give you guys some background on this, this clock can give people trouble if you're not sure what to do. We got this clock to hang up on our wall in our grandmother's house. Everybody called me up and said, hey, we're having trouble setting Granny's clock. Can you come over and take a look? So I did, and I said, oh, it's radio-controlled. Yeah, that's probably why people are having trouble. Just to kind of give you some background on this. The way that radio controlled clocks work is they pick up radio waves that always give it the correct time. So it's actually one of the best clocks you can have because it's always going to be right. But a lot of people think that it's a manually controlled clock when it comes to setting it and don't quite understand unless you have the instructions. So as you can see, it's winding. So what happens is when you take the battery out initially, and on the back, as you can see, there's the battery. Normally on a manually controlled clock, there's going to be a little dial, and you turn that dial to get it to the time you want, and then it just goes. But over time, if the battery starts to go low or something like that, or just the mechanics of the clock, it can be off by a few minutes over time. This doesn't happen with radio controlled clocks. It actually picks up radio waves that send out the correct time depending on your time zone, and this is what you have to know. On this little dial here, it's got Eastern, Central, Mountain, Pacific. You have to make sure that your time zone is correct. And it's got a clicker here for daylight savings time. So if you're on daylight savings time, you have to put it on. If it's not daylight savings time, if you're not recognizing daylight savings time in your time zone, like Mountain or something, you turn that off. The rest of the time, you'll just keep it on. If your area recognizes daylight savings time, you'll keep that on. You can manually set it as well, and that's what that button is there. But what happens is when you first put the battery in, it's going to wind to 12 o'clock, and it's going to sit there. And you're going to be like, why did it stop at 12? And you're going to wait a few minutes, and you're going to be like, hey, it still hasn't done anything. Well, radio-controlled clocks take about anywhere between 5 and 20 minutes to pick up that signal after it's set to 12, and it will move to the correct time. So you have to allow it that time to do it. So you don't want to hang this up. Just leave it like on a table or something like that until that time adjusts, right? And then when the time adjusts to the correct time, then you can hang it up and it will keep the time correct the whole time. So when you see negative reviews, not just on this, but any other radio controlled clock, it's usually people that don't quite understand how to set this. And that's the process for doing it. So I highly recommend this clock just based on the fact that it keeps accurate time, with the caveat that hang on to the instruction booklet because you may forget or someone may not know how to set it correctly. So I hope you found this review to be helpful, and until next time, take care.